Hello and welcome to Absolutely Marvel and DC. Today it is myself, Dan, and Hassan from, I forgot where you're from. Oh my gosh.
I'm from Hassan Kader on YouTube.
There it is. Okay. I was like, is it just his name? I can't remember.
It literally just is. Yeah.
Perfect.
Makes having a normal job impossible.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about Season 4, Episode 8, I Know Why the Caged Cat Sings. This is a quick review or summary of the episode. It's basically the conclusion to the Artemis and Cheshire arc in the show, or at least that's the way it feels. We had the massive fight with Lady Shiva, League of Shadows, League of Assassins, all of that stuff, trying to get Orphan out of there. And that's kind of the episode. I mean, not too much else happened.
How did you feel about the episode just as a whole? Just quickie, just like good, bad?
I liked it. Hated it? I liked it. I thought it was a good conclusion to the little arc. I think there were some bits that were very predictable, but overall, very good. What did you think?
I loved it. This episode and last week's episode have felt like just like old school Young Justice fighting animation, and I love the sitting around and talking. I know Benny hates it, but like I love that it's a little bit more boring because I'm obsessed with these characters. But this the fight scenes in this, I mean, we'll go through it all step by step. But Lady Shiva just cutting two shadows.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And because it's like I watched this when I was 12 and now I'm 23 and it's like, yo, so it's different than when it was on Cartoon Network. Okay.
It's like
do things now.
The show definitely grew up with the audience where they're like, most of the people watching this, they know that blood's when it comes to assassins. I mean, we kind of can't leave that out.
Yes, I love this universe so much, and I wish DC knew what to do with it, because like I want like a sprawling Paul Dini style animated universe here, because I like these characters, but I think give us Young Justice, give us Justice League, give us even the Outsiders in like the old Covert Ops team, not necessarily the Titans, which we have now, but they don't like love the property. They have no idea what to do with it. But it's so awesome. It's so incredible. But this episode particularly, I love they like reshot a lot of what they did in season 1. So I could definitely tell, because I'm an obsessive watcher of this, that like it's reanimated the whole like Artemis and Cheshire.
The flashbacks?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know it was reanimated. That's actually pretty awesome.
It's like the first 3 or 4 seconds of it isn't. It's the old shot, and then you can kind of see there's like a little bit of an animation shift ever so slightly, because Studio Mir does this now. Little Legend of Korra animators doing crazy good work with Young Justice, and then that's like where you get all the separate angles, and it's kind of cool to see like you got in the original first season. Jade leaves. She's like, hey, you're on your own, baby girl, and then just like dips out on Artemis, really scummy. But it's like they humanized her, and like she didn't make it on her own, even as a villain. She had to like come back home, because that is a scary fucking world to get into. It's gonna go be a criminal.
Right. I really liked this one because I feel so with both of these arcs, because the season's called Phantoms, I keep trying to connect how Phantoms are relating to the characters. In the first season, first season. In the first arc, we concluded with a Phantom of the Superboy death, which was confirmed in this episode, which I'll get to that in a minute. As well as a pseudo bit of phantoms of her recent past with her brother, and kind of everything that happened there. But this arc definitely had a much bigger Phantoms of Our Past vibe to it, because they did keep going into how Orphan was raised, how Artemis and Jade was raised. I keep calling her Cheshire because that's the first name that comes to mind.
It's a good supervillain name. Like straight up, it's kind of a great one.
I mean, it's great. I love it.
Sportsmaster, what a dorky nothing character in the comics that's like, I'm terrified of Sportsmaster. Like, I don't want to bump into him. I'm like equally scared of him as Deathstroke. Honestly, I'll put that out there. In this universe, he's just like a cold-blooded asshole. He just like he like fights his kids all the time. It's not a good guy to fight.
I actually really love when these shows kind of do that with these villains, because in the comics, when you see their gimmick and all of that, you're kind of like, Like, why are people scared of this guy? And then that these shows take him and you're like, that's why people are scared of this guy and why it takes a lot to take him down. But going off of the Superboy death, the fact that we did get the scene at the Kent farm, we've got John Kent, Superman's son, asking why Connor's not going to be there. And
why is Uncle Connor not coming? Oh, Uncle Connor? We're going to call him Uncle Connor?
That part, as well as you may have ignored him at the start. That's understandable. But at the end of the day, he treated you like his brother, and you treated him like your brother. And I was like, yes, I love that. I think that's great. There were other parts in the explanation to John about the whole situation. I was like, that's a very weird way to word this to a small child. Yes, was that 100%. Just me, or?
It was weird in general, but it's like, they have to be as on the nose as possible because it's for us. It's not actually for kids. It's like, this is how adults talk to children, because I don't think it's for people who have kids of their own necessarily. So it's like, this is how you would talk to a small child who I think is 3 years old. If the timing is right, and I think he's 3.
Right.
But because it's interesting because they implied that they told him earlier that Connor had died. Mm-hmm. They said he passed on. He's like, yeah, he passed on. When's he gonna come? He's like, passed on from hanging out with us. He's gonna come here because he's always at the farm. Which I love that Ma and Pa Kent are alive in this universe, and that because it's not about Superman, so there's no reason to give him grief or to develop his character much further than that. And it's about Connor. So having him have Ma and Pa Kent, which in season 2 you get introduced to them. They break into the Reach laboratories in Smallville, and then they need a place to stake out for the night. So you get to see Pa Kent. He's like, anything to get one of my boys back in town, and he puts his arm around Connor, and I was like, oh, this is so cute. And Wolf howling. Come on, man. God, can't put animals in front of me.
That's actually a great point of keeping them around, because it also really emphasizes that this is even Clark's first big family loss. This isn't let me this is how I acted and what helped me get through the loss of my parents. No, this is also him going, I just lost my brother.
Oh my God, the line is incredible. Where he's like, I think Johnny's okay. He's a little whatever, but he went to sleep. And he goes, good, I'm glad, because I'm not okay. And then the camera tilts and it zooms into Clark's eyes. I was like, oh, and it's Superboy's voice actor, but he's playing Superman. And it's just this these actors in this show do such an amazing job playing multiple characters. Because for me, this just sounds like Superman, but I can just hear that that grizzled, rougher texture to his voice, and then just the sadness. Oh, it was so real. It was palpable. I teared up a little bit.
I didn't know it was the same voice actor. I'm not as good at noticing these things, at least not all the time. It's only when it's pretty much the exact same voice, but it's in a different show. And I'm like, oh my God, it's that guy from this show. Interesting. Cause that voice actor did a great job of making it very clear. This isn't Superboy.
Yeah. Oh, it's that whole scene was incredible, and it wasn't even the heart of the episode. It's not even, I wouldn't even consider it a B plot. It's like a C- plot. There is no B plot. It's A plot.
If anything, it was just kind of the truly ending the first arc, kind of that little bit of an epilogue to those first 4 episodes, as well as kind of the confirming of, no, we all know he died. Hey, audience, even we think he died.
Which I like that. I like that a lot. I like because we don't get to experience that with Artemis dying. I feel like we didn't get to focus on in season 2. We didn't get enough focus of characters grieving her loss before immediately with the reveal, and they were grieving her in the background. But I like that it's the focus, and it was a kids show back then on Cartoon Network. So now we get to lean into grief is real, loss is real, death is real. And I'm hoping to get some Superman and the Flash scenes, Barry Allen scenes together, talking about losing one of their proteges, because they're the only 2 that have experienced that. And honestly, Batman too, because Batman lost Jason in this universe.
That's right.
Even though we get a little Jason at the end of this episode. the most
Oh,
lines he's ever
yes.
speak at this
So
point.
that was him sitting there
Yes.
with the mask. Okay.
100% is Jason. So at the end of
That's what I thought.
in season 3, when they go to Infinity Island, where Dick Grayson says probably one of the more iconic quotes, where he goes, "Ra's al Ghul is many things, but a liar isn't one of them." Which I just love that. I love
Yeah.
Dick like respecting Ra's al Ghul. It's so weird, but it's like this makes sense because obviously Batman is the father of that child, so it makes sense that Talia's been around at least a little bit. But in that episode, at the end of them leaving Infinity Island, you turn to Ninja Man and he just goes, Grayson. It's like, oh, and he goes, your memory is coming back. And then they just move on right past it. But yeah, that's our Jason Todd in this universe. We only saw him once via hologram in underneath the old cave.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see his hair in that one. And his hair is very much the same hair that he has now. Very Jason Todd Robin style hair. Looks great. I'm so excited. I think that's gonna be Nightwing's arc. I have a feeling that's gonna be the arc that he goes through is I don't know if they're gonna go full Red Hood as of yet, but they'll do something because I don't think he's ready to be. Then again, the show does its own interpretations. Last week, Barbara Gordon losing her legs because of Orphan, but also like
Right.
I love that. That created such a like an instant bond between them in a way that like not that I don't care about Orphan. I like Orphan. Orphan has had no screen time. I've been with Barbara on the show. She was on and like she was in a couple scenes in season 1, but season 2 forward, she's been here. So I'm more invested in Barbara. So like instantly using that connection to make me more connected to Orphan. I was like, oh, it's great. And that beautiful scene where she's just like, I did this to save you, not him or whatever. So hope maybe the show will do a little bit of a different spin on on Dick Grayson, on Jason Todd being Red Hood or being whatever he's going to be, because he does have a red hoodie on a lot, but I hope that's not the costume. Phil Barassa is the art designer, and I think Christopher Jones works on it with him in the show, and they are just leagues above everything else that DC's ever put out. They're so incredible. Mm-hmm. They did a lot of the animated movies, to like Justice League Apocalypse and stuff like that.
That makes sense. I'm personally a massive fan of all the DC animated films. Like I know some people have big complaints on them, but they're way better than all the live action, even though that's not saying too much. No,
I would love give Greg Weisman, give Brandon Vietti live action. Let them be Kevin Feige, and then let them do Justice League and Young Justice and like HBO Max tied-in series, and we would have something to rival the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's my take on it. That and or several movies of people talking and still pictures instead of still like artwork, of them standing around with voiceovers in the background.
Oh man, like I'm glad you mentioned the Barbara and Orphan moment, because it's a great point. It's such an easy and fast way to give an understanding of their relationship without having to go into too much. Like, it was just a quick scene. I did find it kind of interesting that she's like, no, don't kill her, right after you stabbed her through the chest, which probably would kill most people.
But it's Lady Shiva who, like, way to introduce a character and make her a goddamn threat.
Yes.
Like Lady Shiva, scarier than Deathstroke, scarier than Sportsmaster. I'll put that up there. Just and like the way she just delivers every line with just this like stoic, monotone menace. And then when she goes crazy for a second, there cuts. So in the episode, we get the payoff of last season. There was the Shade. He was a metahuman who we got to watch go through the entire trafficking process. That was, in fact, the only time where we got to see Tim Drake speak in that whole entire season.
That's right.
But it's when they're cycling through teams. We get to see him first get abducted, his metagene activated, then trafficked, and then turned into the villain Shade. But in that episode, Cheshire is the one who frees him. So I thought it was weird to see him back, and I was like, oh, what are they doing with this? They paid off in a beautiful way. He uses his overpowered as all hell powers. Holy crap.
Right. So good.
Incredible. Teleporting with shadows, which great. He works for the shadows. Awesome situation there for him. But he uses that.
It was all branding.
It's all marketing, truly. They're still stuck on the toy sales. They're like trying to get back. Fuck you, Cartoon Network. We're going to get our toy sales right now. But he teleports them onto the shore of Santa Prisca, and they jump through the portal and they make it fine. And then Lady Shiva flies through and cuts 2 of her own soldiers in half. Blood is splattered all over her. And it's just absurd. And I loved every second of it. Oh my God.
Big time. In fact, like you mentioning that, it really makes you think of, they have gotten back to their roots of Young Justice. of all, like there's so much action and there's so much like emotion put into it, and it's not like some of those other shows where you go, okay, I get it, it's emotional, can we move past this now? Like you're kind of beating a dead horse. No, like this one, they go, this is what you need to know, here's the emotion, onto the fight scene, let's just go, ninjas versus superheroes. Like
emotion in there. You have Barbara in the earpiece being like, hey, Artemis, you need to switch with Orphan. She's not ready to face Lady Shiva yet. And they switch mid-fight because you're probably right. Like, she's not ready to fight her own mother yet, even no matter how talented of a killer she is.
Right.
And it just, that scene, fighting in the dark with, like, the swords and the sparks going off, animation-wise, oh my God, that was breathtaking. That's some anime level stuff right there, getting thrown into some American animation. I love that.
It's a great way of going, hey, we're gonna save the budget a little bit by having just like full black scenes and like no real background, but we're gonna make it look super epic. And it's like, you did a fantastic job, guys. Like that like you said, that's entire fight scene, super badass. Loved the guy's purple suit.
For me, honestly, like these aren't my favorite characters in the slightest. Like I liked Infinity Island bit because I'm a big Bat family, not necessarily Batman, but the family is super interesting to me. So like these are just C- characters for me. I've never been this invested in Artemis. I was invested in her for the sake of Wally, but not necessarily her as her own character. And I'm invested now. I was sad at the end of the episode when Jay didn't go home. I hope there's like a real payoff to where like Sensei and Ra's al Ghul aren't like manipulating them further.
God, I hope not.
That speech with Sensei where he goes, "Did you not realize we were manipulating you?" I was like, what? That's an incredible fucking line. Like, oh my God, that's so like, what? Oh gosh, it took me back. And him, I don't remember what his voice actor's name is. He voices Uncle Iroh in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Great voice actor. I know who you're talking about. I don't know the names because I'm terrible with names.
I remember who the original voice actor was, and this guy took after him. Mako is the original voice actor, and he took over after, and he's done a beautiful job since then honoring Mako's memory. But yeah, as Sensei, which is just like evil Uncle Iroh, I guess.
I mean, that's really is who he is. Oh my God. I have a feeling based on what you were saying with the Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, that being his arc, I feel like we're going to get our Superman on the farm moment with Jade on Paradise Island. And that's going to be we'll cap that arc so that you kind of get your epilogue resolution. But here's the Jason and Damian, even though I'm a little unsure how I feel about the age difference that we've given Damian to Orphan, because in the comics I'm pretty sure they're same age, if not within a couple years, as opposed to Orphan's very clearly in her mid-teens and Damian's a baby. Like,
yeah, I guess they really, I mean, their goal is to stretch out the legacies of the characters as much as possible, and in an interesting way, because this resonates with me a lot more than Batman having 5 Robins within 5 years, and he's supposed to have like a deep connection with all of them. I'm like, dude, you're just beating kids at this point. What are you talking about?
Right.
What do you mean by this? So this one really gives you like a lot of room to where he had several years with Dick, and then he had, I think they don't say it explicitly, but 2 years-ish with Jason before Jason gets killed.
Yep.
And then Tim forward, because when we meet Tim in season 2, he hasn't been Robin for like a crazy long amount of time. He runs his very first stop, and then Dick Grayson gives this really cryptic line, which like now you know why he said it. He just goes, "Yeah, you're gonna be okay. Just don't die, okay?" And it's like, whoa, what a weird thing to say to somebody before they go on a mission. Probably the last mission they went on was Jason dying.
Yeah.
So I don't think Damian's going to be I think we've seen as much as we're going to see. Maybe we'll have a Damian Bruce revealing that he knows Damian exists or whatever, that kind of scene, but I don't think we'll get much more of him. They're going to keep doing the show if Warner Brothers renews it, which, guys, hashtag Renew Young Justice is a very real thing. If you go on Twitter and ever look up Greg Wiseman, it's all he tweets about. He answers questions in a very snarky way, and it's so funny to read his tweets if you ever get bored. But he constantly tweets out because they don't know if they're going to get renewed. But if the shows get renewed, I imagine we're going to get another time skip, which, I'm finally okay with them. I like the 2 to 3 year jumps, like the 1-2 years. 5 years was a bit of a stretch for me as a kid. I did not appreciate that situation. It gave me Nightwing, which I liked that, but everything other than that, I was like,
right.
There's a lot more stories to be told here.
I actually am always a big fan of those time jumps because it allows them to keep using flashbacks and backstory that you don't already know, that you don't just go, well, yeah, I don't need a flashback. I literally just saw that last season. What are you doing right now? Like, I think that's fantastic. Like you said, this episode in entirety, so good, so much better than last season. I'm going to just straight up say it. This season so far it grabbed me. Well, okay. It grabbed me a little bit. The first arc went a little long, but this second arc has given me so much hope for the show. I will say I'm a little curious how they're going to use the Rocket arc, because I don't remember that character, and she's one of the main ones that shows up on like the start, like the opening.
Raquel gets introduced the last 3 or 4 episodes of season 1. You get to see her help them like stop the Justice League. You introduce her mentor Icon, and then Icon in season 2 is the one who takes them to Rimbor to get judged or whatever, the evil court of law. You don't see much else of her, so I'm with you. There's Zatanna's the next arc, but like I don't know what Rocket.
Did they confirm that? Is that?
Yeah, they confirmed it on Twitter. So if you go on. If you go on Twitter or you go on to HBO Max, they've updated the art. Looks like we're getting Zatanna, Tracy 13, which we didn't get a bunch of her last season, but she's the new magic user on the team, as well as Clarion the Witch Boy, who's always just this little shit that I love to see on the screen. He's just a little asshole, and I love him. Just whiny as all hell, and he's got a cat that looks like mine, so I can appreciate that. Even though
there's the real connection. You're like, the cat, we're cat dads together.
My cat's a familiar too. I'm technically an evil, omniscient spirit. But before I forget to mention this, because I saw this in the comments, and I remembered it the first review I did with you guys. Black Spider. This is probably the last time we're going to see him for a little while. It's Josh Keaton from Spectacular Spider-Man.
You mean Red Spider?
Black Spider. Isn't he? He's called Black Spider.
Is he called Black Spider? Even though he's all red?
Sure. He's black.
Is he black? Is he always in the chat?
I think he's called Black Spider.
If that's the case, then either I have terrible eyesight when it comes to colors, or just my monitor's like tinted differently.
Like purple undertones to him, but I believe he's the Black Spider. But the thing with him is it's Greg
Black
Weisman's
Spider.
And he's such a fun character in this show. But it's even more fun when you realize Greg Weisman did Spectacular Spider-Man, so that is Spider-Man's voice actor, Josh Keaton, back, and they literally took the web sounds from Spectacular Spider-Man for his webs. So all the same sound bites used.
I just sent it to you. It's definitely red, even though he is called Black Spider.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the purplish. Is that the same suit he has this season too?
I think that's a picture from...
Maybe it's from the season. I trust you. I thought it was more on like the purple end.
I could see it.
My brain's like, Spider-Man's red. This guy's not Spider-Man. He's just a black spider. But they can't go full black, because then he's Spider-Man with a symbiote. So
right. Actually, that's why I thought it was Red Spider, was more than like really leaning into this is very clearly Spider-Man, guys. But
I love that bit. Is so funny, and Josh Keaton getting to be evil Spider-Man after like not being Spider-Man for this many years. It's just fun.
Yeah,
he has a blast with it, and he's doing he's better than Drake Bell as Spider-Man for the last 5 or so years. Whoever was doing that on the Disney series, so fun to see him reprise the role. And then the webs are so stupid that they're using the exact web noise. Like they took the soundbite from a Sony show, they threw it onto a DC property, and they called it a day. And I'm like, hats off to Greg Weisman and Brandon Vietti for just being fun, having fun with whatever they're doing. Clearly love every second of it. Jason Spizak has let on that he is in this season, so that's either Forger or Wally. I don't know what hint he was dropping me the other day. So I'm like, he's very busy doing, which, by the way, if you guys like voice actors, Silco in Arcane, that is Wally West.
Is it really?
Yep.
Oh my God. For side note, Arcane, absolutely amazing. One of my favorite shows now.
I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't seen it?
I canceled my Netflix subscription because nothing was on.
Oh my gosh, Arcane alone is worth renewing your Netflix subscription.
Done.
In my opinion,
today. I was going to watch it anyways because Jason Spizak has been like a fun mentor for me, just to help me with like voice acting stuff here and there. And he's Wally West, which is like my first car's name was Wally West. I love that character with my whole heart. but he has been posting so much promo stuff for Arcane recently, and I'm like, maybe I got to get into this. And my friends are big League of Legends guys. I'm not, and I mentioned to him, oh yeah, he voices somebody like Slyko. I don't know. And then they're like, he voices Shoko. That's the main guy. I was like, okay, I will get into this show. So Young Justice review, but here's a shout out to an unrelated property except similar voice cast. That and Haley Steinfeld. Let's throw Marvel in here too. Hawkeye's Eric, she's on that show as well.
So many people that I was not aware of. Oh, I love that.
If you just spend 10 minutes or like 5 minutes at the end of every episode just looking through voice cast, it's so much fun because these people have been interchanging, and I love to see we haven't had as much of it this season, but last season Kari Payton, the voice of Cyborg in Teen Titans, the voice of Aqualad on this show, he voiced everyone. He voiced every background character in all of season 3 of Young Justice. It was amazing.
That's all. The range some of these people have is insane.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Because I was almost sad we didn't get him as Cyborg, but I like the new Cyborg's voice a lot. It was like a little bit angrier. He goes, my dad took my legs. Like a little, like he's got a good vibe to him. And then his dad is actual Cyborg. He goes, son, you don't understand. It's like also Calder. Man, they play it up so well, and they lean into these jokes in a way that no show ever has for me. So big Young Justice fanboy, if you guys can't tell. I accidentally make these reviews way too long. That's on me. I'm always like looking at the time, and I'm like, God, they do this in like 18 minutes or less, and we're at the 26-minute mark.
Oh my gosh, which is crazy because it's the great conversation, because I actually didn't even notice. A second ago, I looked at it. It was 18 minutes. When you said 26, I'm like, no, we literally just said 18. Nope, it is 26 minutes. But that is a good place for us to wrap up here. That was Young Justice Season 4, Episode 8. No. Yes. I closed the thing because I looked up the Red Spider thing. I believe it was Episode 8. Episode 8. I know why the caged cat sings. I have been Dan. This has been Hassan Kadir on YouTube, I believe. Did I say that correct?
Sir. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Hassan Kadir, and I own a channel called Bad Days where I will be doing comic book reviews next week starting forward. So,
perfect. All right. And then next week, it is going to be Hassan and Benny. We're going to swap on out. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to join the Absolute Armada by hitting that subscribe button down below. Hit the like button, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Later, guys.